I had to have a big laugh early this morning because there was a panel of so-called experts talking about multiculturalism. Not quite sure how they get the title of experts, because unless you've been amongst it, you can't say anything. No good sitting back in your little houses in your suburbs and talk about something you've never experienced firsthand on an ongoing basis, that is. Now, I know you're fed up with me relating things to ships, but this is one time when you really can. You see, multiculturalism ashore doesn't work. Never will. It'll get worse and worse. Look at America. There's no such country now. It's just been diluted into this morass of everybody calling themselves African American, Caribbean American, you name it. Nobody's just American anymore. Sort of like the country itself, so it's in a mess and it's going to fade, and that'll get worse. Now, I've crawled over just about over 2/3 of this world, and I've never yet seen it work ashore. Now, at sea, things are slightly different. First of all, you have to understand the levels of the way ships are regarded. First of all, you've got the passenger ships. They're the glitzy showgirls of no purpose but to give people pleasure. I won't go any further than that. But they are the most unsafe ships, in my opinion, and I am a master. They are the most unsafe ships in the world. Then you come to these big container vessels, stacked so high everybody wonders how they stay upright. Well, at certain times they stay upright by the fact that a lot of the containers fall over the side. The fastening gives way, the ship usually ends up on a bit of a list, and there's a lot of floating non-explosive mines in the water ready to trap the unwary. In my view, they're the most dangerous ships at sea. Then we come to the cargo ships, the not so big ones, but they belong to small fleets. They're not one-offs, and they run to a routine and have contracts and all this sort of stuff. They're workhorses. They're good ladies. They very seldom let you down, but if you do, you usually find yourself breathing water. Then you come to my type of ship, the tramper. Now, a tramper's different to a cargo ship in as much as it's usually a one-off. Doesn't belong to any fleet in any way, shape or form. It scratches a living getting what cargo it can from one place and taking it to another. Multiculturalism in these ships is rife. I mean, I've been with Chinese, Japanese, what else have we got? Malays, Indian, all in the same vessel. And they get along. No trouble at all. No trouble at all. The reason being that unlike a country, the ship becomes more of a long-term home, the place you can hang on to and believe in and trust, hopefully. And if it does well, you get extra money. If it does poorly, you just tighten your belt for a while. Multiculturalism in ships isn't divided by race or colour or religion. You're all there in one boat, if you'll pardon the pun, and that's to make a living, money-wise, and to enjoy life. This is what doesn't happen ashore. A lot of them are unemployed, absolute bums, just living off society, which creates further resentment, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Also, you have to understand that trampers can't survive by doing everything legally. You're not going to be able to pay for a ship, its upkeep, its fuel, its crew, just by carrying what other people don't want to between a couple of points. From this island to that island, or to the mainland to this island. Plastic buckets and bits of machinery, parts and all this sort of stuff. Doesn't happen. You can't do it. So all ships have, shall we say, secondary incomes. Trampers I'm talking about now. Now, I can't talk about myself because then you could get into a lot of trouble. So I'll just say I had this friend, very close friend. I think you'd like him. And his trick was liquor, mainly whiskey, which they'd buy under bond. I think I've told you about all that sort of stuff before. And smuggle it where it was expensive. Buy it from the brewery, have it shipped to wherever you're going to pick it up, into a bond store, then out of a bond store into your hold, and even a bottle of, shall we say, Glenfiddich or Grant's whiskey. You're looking at $2 or $3 a bottle, maybe $5 on some of it. So it's $60 a case, and you can sell each case for, well, it depends on the country, but let's say back then, and I'm talking about a long time ago now, let's see, a case, say $250 per case, and there were 70 cases to a pallet, and he used to carry, this, not me, this friend of mine, he used to carry between 20 and 30 pallets. That was the good stuff, big money earning. But also you want some small stuff. Who remembers the days of disposable lighters when they had advertising on them? Could be a company or a hotel or something. Well, he used to carry about 50,000 of these things. Most outrageously, Dorchester, Savoy. There must be an American hotel that's any good that they also had them. He'd get them for 15 cents each in the big bulk buying. He would on-sell them at $2 each. And whoever then bought them off him probably on-sold them again to the customer for about $4. And they went like hotcakes. As many as you could have banged out in little backstreet shops in Hong Kong or Taiwan, you could sell them. And that's how you made your money. It's probably why the trampers have virtually disappeared now. The authorities are all over you like a rash, and many of the trampers were old cargo ships, sort of World War II type, and they got old and fell apart. It was always a struggle to keep them going. Not just the money for the fuel and the rest of it, but old engines, I mean, they finally, you can't even make the parts anymore. Old bridge controls. Nobody has telegraphs anymore, well, very few. And the helm is now a little joystick. There's no big wiggle. Well, there might be a secondary one down aft somewhere as an emergency steering position, but that's about it. So they died off. Now, you're saying this is two computers. We're talking about ships and we're talking about multiculturalism. I saw something this morning that jogged my memory. It wasn't America, it was somewhere else. Oh, Denmark, where they've become very anti the immigrants coming in, pouring in, allowed in. And everybody's saying they're bad people. No, they're not. These immigrants that are coming in supposedly as refugees, they're not bloody refugees. They just see a country where they'll be better off on welfare than they are at home, and off they go. The world condemned Australia because we turned around the boats that were coming down from Indonesia with people from all over the world. And do you know what the buggers used to do? They would wait until they got close to Australia, and then they'd damage their boats. They'd make holes in them, or set fire to them, and then ring the Australian authorities and say, "We're in trouble, come and get us, our ship is sinking." And like idiots in the early days, they used to do it. Well, they'll still pick up anybody that's in serious danger, but none of them come to Australia. They get processed offshore and then sent home. That's it. Anyway, an insight into trampers, how they were, how they worked, how they got along together, and my view on multiculturalism. There's only one way you're going to stop the rot that's set in. And that's to separate everybody again. It's in human nature. We can't get along. We can't. Unless you're working together in something like a tramper. Because you've got to remember that if a ship sinks 1 centimetre below the water, if you're under the water, is just as dangerous as outer space. You might last about a minute longer, but that's about it. It's not a friendly environment. All right, I'll leave you alone now. Didn't really give you much to think about, but I've been mulling on it. A diluted America. What a thought. Yes, rather pleasant when you think about it, isn't it? Just one thing before I go. Quick, I just remembered. Why do people call themselves African Americans or Chinese Americans? Surely if you go to a country to live because you're going to be there for the rest of your life and you want your offspring to go up there, you just become American. Anybody that wants to be an African American or a Caribbean American, fine. Send them home. Send them back to Africa. Send them back to the Caribbean. That way you'll get some continuity in the race. Okay, I know. Time to go. Have a lot of fun as I look out the window. Far in the distance I can see the smoke from the closest bushfires, but it's not coming this way, it's going the other. So we're all right here, but just everybody say a couple of prayers if you're that way inclined, or offer good wishes if you're not, to the firefighters that are out there, the men and women on the front line. They got one hell of a job. See you later.